Yeah, that's fun. Today, we're talking about film photography. Can I just riff? How do people just sit down and make YouTube videos? No, screw it. Off the cuff. I've been doing film photography for about 1 year at this point. I started film photography when I found this Yashica ZoomMate 70 at a thrift store. I just wanted to make a quick, simple video about some of my favorite shots I've taken and maybe some things I learned along the way. So yeah, let's move on to the first photos that I actually took with this camera. These photos were taken on my grandfather's property. Some of them are on the inside of his home and some of them are on the outside. I wasn't even really sure if these photos were going to turn out because I thought they were all going to be on the burned reel from the camera that was like inside when I bought it. But there are a couple gems on here. Like I really like this one of the inside of his home. With some color correcting, you know, bringing some of the shadows back. I do like the feel of this picture, you know, the one window illuminating the room. You can just subtly see the bed and it's illuminating just one strip in the hallway. It's like a nice cozy feeling. I took some pictures of his property and my fears were correct. Some of the reel was a little burned. Here's one picture of his driveway and like a quarter of the frame is burned, but I think it looks kind of cool. That's one thing you gotta remember when you're doing film photography is people like it because it's imperfect. You know, I've taken lots of photos of I've taken lots of digital photos and you kind of get like stuck in your head about the gear and the resolution and the color space and getting everything perfect in Lightroom, but it's really nice to just take a picture with a film camera and just be like, all right, it's done. Like for example, there's this picture of my grandfather standing in his driveway. He's like working on a saw and you can see that there's a massive spill of light coming through, but I kind of like that. Like I have so many nice photos of this place. This just adds like this really interesting texture to the photograph. And even more so, here's this picture of him after he saw that I was taking pictures. He's almost framed by the light burns and the light spilling. And I could add those in post, but I don't know, there's almost like an interesting novelty, or you know, the fact that it was all done chemically, it really adds to the picture. So keeping with the theme of light spills and overexposed cameras, I took the camera to a music show and it made some great photos. Like some of these pictures, some of my favorite photos I've ever taken just because of the imperfections that are inside them. This photo in particular, one of my friends, they're on stage playing guitar and look at the light streams on the top of the image. Like that looks so cool to me. And then this photo outside after the show, one of my friends and their partner with all these street lights in the background. I don't know what's going on with this camera when it's around like bright lights, but it goes insane. Like it creates the most absurd, chaotic photographs you can imagine. Oh, and also it does not do well with environmental things like smoke and like mist. Here's the after party of that same show, and this room is well lit. There are really good lights in here, but the problem is there's so many people smoking. The room is just filled with this haze and the light is just bouncing all over the place. But it made for some pretty cool pictures. So this next set is at a house party. I think house parties are the perfect environment for film cameras. There are just so many opportunities to take lots of nice portraits of your friends. And then everybody knows that when you do film photography, you don't get your pictures back for like a month or however long you want to wait to develop them. And it's so much fun to review them, especially when all your friends are blackout drunk and they don't remember anything about the day. These are some of my favorite photos I've ever taken, and they were some of the first photos I ever took too. The next section of this video I want to call trying to capture that moment. So when taking film photos, you have to be very picky on when you take a picture because you have a very limited amount of photos you can take. And so to be a good film photographer, you kind of have to be in the moment and recognize when something interesting is about to happen because you have to be ready to snap that photo. So I took the camera to a family gathering and I did my best to capture some of those moments, and I think I got a few. This is my grandfather and all of his siblings. They're all opening gifts at the same time in front of everybody. This photo turned out pretty good considering the fact that there are 8 people and none of them are doing anything weird or they don't look weird in the photo. When you're taking pictures of large groups, it's really easy to have one person off to the side who's like looking away or with their mouth open or like with their eyes closed. So I was pretty happy with how this turned out. It looks really natural. And I'm also pretty happy that I managed to get them all in frame. Sometimes when you're just looking through the camera, it's really hard to like frame things and make sure your composition is good. So I was pretty happy with this one. This next one, I got some of my family members laughing while they're opening the same gifts. I really like this one. I'm glad I captured my uncle smiling like this. The next section of this video is called My Friend's Big Red Eyes. I don't know if you guys have friends like this, but I have one friend who has huge eyes. So every single photograph that I take of him, he has red eyes. It's like impossible to take a nice photo of him. Just look at these pictures. Every single one of them, his eyes are blown out. I took these pictures at a Halloween event. You can see I didn't dress up because I think I decided to go last minute. But it was a really fun time. I got some really nice pictures, some nice candid photos of all my friends. I think I did a pretty good job of capturing the feeling of the party. So the next thing I did was I took the camera to New York when I visited my girlfriend in January. I think some of them turned out really good. I mean, I'm not the first person to do street photography in New York, I know that, but I think some of these photos are some of the best I've ever taken. So I wanted to highlight this picture. I think we were at the MoMA. I can't remember if it was the MoMA or the Met, but I went to both. They were so clear. Please no flash photography. So here I am, standing in the middle of this museum. There's like hundreds of people here, and I walk up to this like art installation, and here I go, like an idiot. Massive flash in the middle of this room. Security instantly comes over to me and is like, please no more flash photography. I'm gonna have to confiscate that if that happens again. Felt great after that. I also wanted to highlight this picture. I talked about trying to capture moments earlier. This one I'm so bummed out about. I think you can see the vision. Like, I think you can see how I wanted to get a picture from far away. It's Starry Night, huge, massive painting, like massive famous painting. I think it would have looked so cool if I had this couple just standing there and their back was in focus and they were looking at the Starry Night. Like, you see the vision, right? Like, you get it. I think this picture would have turned out so good. This is one of the pictures that I'm really choked about. Like, I really wish this picture turned out better. Another picture from New York that I really liked, there was this couple sitting in front of us when we went for a walk. I noticed that they were sitting like right in the center of these bleachers. I was like, I'm gonna try and be a real street photographer. I'm gonna take pictures of strangers and try to make a nice composition out of everyday life. I am really happy with this picture. I think it looks really cool, especially when you pair it with the other photographs that I took on the same day, kind of in a series. You put them all beside each other. I think that looks really cool. I think these would be really cool posters, or like put them on a wall all next to each other, like get the panels all next to each other. That would be really cool. Next, we went to Ground Zero. Most of these pictures I'm not really happy with. I mean, it's funny that they turned out okay, like they're in focus and the color's good and the lighting is good, but I'm not really happy with the composition. I think the composition probably could have been stronger, but there is one picture that I really like, and it's me standing at the bottom of the New World Trade Center. It was super foggy and overcast that day, and the top of the building was like in this mist, and I stood underneath this tree and looked up at it, and I think this picture turned out pretty cool. Okay, here is another picture that is ruined by this camera. I really think that this picture could have been really cool. I love taking photos of people like with cameras, or taking photos. Like, I love taking pictures of people taking pictures. When we were sitting on the steps at the Met, someone asked my girlfriend, hey, can you take a picture of us? And I was like, perfect, time to get the film camera out. And then I snapped this photo, and it's completely out of focus. And what's even more annoying is here is a picture from that exact same spot at the same time of day with all the exact same conditions, and it's perfect. Like, I don't even know what I did wrong. I mean, there might be something wrong with this camera. I don't want to be the kind of guy who like, oh, my controller is broken, that's why I'm bad at the game. But sometimes it's like, I don't even know what to do. But this photo at least turned out pretty cool. I'm really happy with this. You can almost hear the honking in the New York streets just looking at this picture. Okay, and the final section of this video, I want to call Pure Vibes. So these are pictures that have all the problems that I've been describing. Like, either they're out of focus, or the light is leaking, or there's like light streams from overexposure or something like that. But they all came together to make this really satisfying picture. The first one is my friend with their phone lighting their face up, and it's completely out of focus, but it's so warm and comfortable. I love this picture. Then I'm on the streets of New York again, and the same conditions as this last picture. Once again, I just want to remind you. But this one, I think I might have been shaking the camera. That one might have been my fault. But this picture just looks so cool. I like that you can see the overexposed lights of the hot dog stand. I don't know why, that just looks really cool to me. And you can see the people, they're a little smudged because since it was overexposed, you kind of got 2 or 3 steps before the shutter closed. So I enjoyed this photo a lot. It really makes you feel like you're on a busy street in New York. This next photo is from inside Central Park, and since it was later in the day, you can kind of see some of the lights from inside the buildings. And I just like how the light streams from the overexposure kind of all look the same. And this one also feels like one of those pictures you would put up on like a board and put it in your house. Okay, closing thoughts. Film photography is really hard and you need to really practice to get good. So I would suggest, if you want to get into film photography, watch a lot of tutorials, and also just keep in mind that you're going to burn a lot of film, and most of the pictures that you think are going to be good are not going to be that good. Check out my other videos. I have 2 vlogs that I just did in the last month. I'm very happy with those. I worked so hard on them. They're very hard to make. Editing takes so long. It's so time consuming. Please go watch my videos. I'm going to try and do 1 video a week for I don't know how long, not promising amount of time. So please subscribe so you can keep updated with whatever I want to talk about.